rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get underway tonight, I'd like to welcome everyone to the May meeting of the Irondequoit Zoning Board of Appeals. The fire exit is located to your left. In the event of a fire, you will be notified by an announcement. If notified, please move in a calm and orderly fashion to the exit using either the front or the back stairs to leave the building, the north or the south stairs, and not the elevator. The meetings are being recorded for purposes of a record and minutes, not for a verbatim transcript. Each time you come to the microphone, please speak into, or the podiums, please speak into the microphone. We will follow the items in the order that they appear on the agenda, extra copies of which are available on the table near the door. Once the case has been called, the applicant and or their representative will come to the podium, identify himself or herself, state their address, raise their right hand to be sworn, and then present their case. During their presentation, the members of the board will have an opportunity to question the applicant and comment on anything that warrants comment. The case will then be open to public input. Anyone wishing to speak to the board regarding the application should come to the podium and identify themselves along with their address and direct their questions to the board. We have three categories of public input. We have those who wish to speak in favor of the application, those who wish to speak in opposition to the application, and those who aren't sure if they're for it or against it but want to talk to us about it. If another category gets developed, we'll work on that later. Once all the public input has been completed, then the applicant or their representative will be given the opportunity to respond to any public input. I will then close the hearing and we'll continue on to the next case if we have one. After all the cases have been heard, the board will normally takes a short recess. Since it appears we only have one case tonight, we probably won't do that. And we will then return to deliberate each case in the order of the applicants who remain present. No further input is allowed at that point. You're welcome to stay and listen to the deliberation. If you leave and wish to find out what the result was, you can call the Planning and Zoning Department tomorrow morning after 9 a.m. Do you want to call the first case?
Yes. ZB 1505-1, upon the matter of request by Brad DeLeo for an area variance to install 4-foot-high front yard fencing, decorative black aluminum, exceeding maximum allowable height and linear footage on premises 21 Thomas Avenue in an R1 residential district.
Thank you. I'm Brad DeLeo, live at 21 Thomas Avenue, and this is my son Logan. Brought him along for a little civics lesson tonight. Hope that's
All right.
okay.
You can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that everything you say tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. You're interested in putting a fence around your yard at Thomas and Sagamore, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you want to do a 4-foot aluminum decorative fence similar to what appears on St. Paul, Winona, and a little further northwest of you on Thomas Avenue and over on Cooper.
Correct.
And in addition to the letter of support that was submitted with the application from Mr. and Mrs. Cobb, who live at 31 Thomas Avenue, which I believe is immediately next door to you, and from Jeff Ron, Director of Facilities for the School District, whose building is right across the street from you. There's also a letter from Herbert and Marjorie Humphrey at 49 Sagamore Drive, which is across Sagamore from your house, right?
That's correct.
Anyone have any questions or comments?
Yes. My question is with regard to the letter of support from Jeffrey Ron. I'm a little confused. Is this letter written on behalf of the school district, or is it a personal?
It's a school district. I contacted the district office and requested if they would be interested in supporting this, and they put me in charge to the facilities manager, and he said that they would support that.
I guess I'm curious as to what exactly they're supporting. I mean, does this have to do with the safety of kids on their way to school, or
I
what?
explained to him I was looking for a variance in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
and he said that he thought it would look nice and he would support the variance.
Probably look a lot better than the 6-foot or higher fences that they have going.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I was just kind of
Sure,
curious.
great
about it.
question.
And also, nice job on the preparation of this whole thing.
Oh, thank you.
Very thorough and clear. Thank you.
Good. I was hoping to have everything in there so you guys wouldn't have any questions.
Russ,
Or not many, anyway.
I think the reason why they contacted, because we told them to discuss it with all your neighbors, and Seneca School's across the street, so he didn't want to leave out the school district. That's why he called, right? Is that why you
Yep,
contacted him? Right.
Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. For those who are watching and can't see behind me, there is absolutely no one seated in the audience, which is why I'm not going to call for those who wish to have any input. We will,
I do have one
Oh.
question. All, the fence that we show in the blue all the way around the property, is there a gate that's gonna be out front of the house the front of your house faces Thomas, am I correct?
Correct.
Is there gonna be a gate out front, or is that gonna be solid?
No, I had no intention of putting a gate there.
The-
We're looking to soften the side with some shrubbery along that, so the fence actually would be mostly hidden. So we wanted to kind of put a screen across there and kind of soften the impact of it. We have 2 fences planned along the driveway, one to the side entrance, which is our main entrance to the home, and then one on the other sidewalk that leads to the center entrance in the front of the house.
My only concern would be if emergency vehicles had to get to you, the only way in, it looks like, would be off of Sagamore, where the driveway is.
Correct.
So if someone were to call in the address, which is a Thomas Avenue address, and they showed up, they couldn't get to you because there's no gate.
That's correct.
Would you have a problem if we asked that you have a gate?
No, sir.
At least out front of the house, I mean, just to make it look, well, I think it would look good, plus the fact that in the event that someone were to have an emergency where they needed to get to you,
Sure.
they have access.
Yeah, it's been confusing on the corner lot with what to use. We went back and forth with the post office with addresses, and quite honestly, we weren't quite positive what would be the best way if there was an emergency on which address to use. So we've been kind of using 20 Sagamore for everything, and when I Googled it, it comes up in Google Maps, so I kind of thought that would kind of be okay for emergency purposes to use that. But I don't have an objection if we need to do that.
Only because of the front of the house facing Thomas, and it looks that way, I mean, it just, for safety factor.
Sure.
I guess, especially with the kids.
although I imagine with the age of your kids, you'd probably be keeping the gate locked.
It would be locked so they couldn't go out. It's true. That was my thought, too. We do have some plans, and we haven't done them yet, to remodel the side and to change the way it's laid out with the 2 doors, so it really doesn't look like an entrance. We want to put more like a slider or something of that nature, and a deck or a patio over there eventually. So it's probably going to look more like a side. Of course, I'll be back for that probably. But
gonna say,
that's
don't-
down the road,
Make sure you check before you start building.
no doubt. So whatever your decision is with that would be fine.
Any other questions or comments? All right, we'll close the hearing with respect to this matter, and we have no other cases on the agenda, so we will move right into deliberation if you want.
Thank you very much.
Have a seat, you
Appreciate
can
your time.
watch, and we'll save you running home to try and catch us on TV or calling in tomorrow. All right, does someone wish to make a motion with, this is a type 2 action for seeker purposes. Does somebody wish to make a motion with respect to the variance?
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance as applied for, based on the following findings. First, this will not create any undesirable change in the neighborhood. In fact, it'll look nice. You've taken out a lot of the excess shrubbery, so it looks a lot less overgrown. The request is not substantial. It's only a half of a foot in terms of the height, and in terms of linear feet, it is sufficient to cover the area of the property. It will have no adverse environmental impact. The alleged difficulty of having a corner lot is not self-created, and there is no other feasible means to achieve safety for the children who live at the home. So on those grounds, I move that we grant the variance.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Would you?
I would just say that I don't think that imposing the requirement that we have a gate on Thomas Avenue is something that, I don't think it's anything that's necessary. If the code were to require it, the fire code or anything like that were to require it, that would be another issue. But in this case, particularly if the applicant is looking to have Sagamore being the main entrance to the property and they're going to be changing it on Thomas, I don't see a need to put in a gate that's going to be locked all the time. It would just be unnecessary cost for the applicant.
I would agree with that. After looking at the property, I would agree that
You're in the St. Paul Boulevard Fire District, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
You willing to check with them and see what their views are concerning whether there's a gate on Thomas and abide by whatever they recommend?
Certainly.
Okay.
I'll amend my motion then to require that the applicant go to the St. Paul Fire District and get their opinion, or no? Do you think that's unnecessary?
I think if the applicant's indicating he's going to check with the fire department and abide by their, I think that's
All right.
probably sufficient. Would that
Yeah.
be acceptable?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, all right. I think they're the ones who would have the most, they're usually the first one to respond to just about anything, so there would be the one who would know most. Any other discussion or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, 7 votes in favor, no opposed, no abstentions. We're all present, and that concludes the matters on our agenda. With respect to other business, everyone should have received minutes from our March 2nd meeting. Did everyone have an opportunity to review those minutes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I'll move that we adopt the minutes from the March 2nd meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Hammond abstained because he wasn't present at that time. And any opposed? Motion carries. 6 votes in favor, no opposed. Same thing with respect to the April 6, 2015 meeting minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to review those minutes? All right, any additions, corrections, changes that anyone would request? Is there a second to adopting the minutes?
A second.
All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Antini and Mr. Paulino abstained because they were absent from that meeting. I believe that concludes the business before us, and it's about 7:13, but I still think I'm shy of the record that Mr. Thomas set the one night he covered a few years ago. We are adjourned.
Okay.